In this video, I want to talk to you about a time where I completely bombed a stage presentation, and one of the most important lessons that I've learned from it that has made me a lot of money since then, and has protected my reputation and gotten me a lot of goodwill. So if you've ever not known what to do or what to offer people, or hey, should I try and use this as an opportunity to build goodwill or forge a relationship, or should I try and sell something or get a margin on this? I want to tell you a couple different stories that kind of all illustrate the same point that I've learned over the last few years. All right, and so one of my favorite kind of bullets on this that you can a writer downer is no half measures, right? Either sell or don't sell, but don't be in between. And so the first time that this kind of happened for me was I was asked to speak at this kind of high-level mastermind, which happens relatively frequently. But this one in particular was a fitness-related one. For me, when I have presentations and stuff, I usually spend a long time preparing. Sometimes I'll make a product. Actually, that was the only time I made a product. But I spent a long time on the presentation, so it's usually a big deal for me to say yes, because it's like I'm gonna have to do a lot of work on my side. Anyways, I had this presentation and this pitch that I had made for a product that we had made specifically for this audience. And when I got there, they had given me a 3-hour time slot, all right, which is insane. And I think part of that was because they just wanted to have me talk as long as possible, for their audience, because they thought it would be valuable. And so for whatever reason, I agreed. And the thing is you can't pitch for 3 hours, right? Maybe you can, but you can't straight pitch for 3 hours, right? And so what I decided to do was just provide, a lot of value. Near the end, after 2.5 hours, I was like, I'll just kind of mention what we have going on, right? And so I get up there. First off, the audience size is 1/3 of what I was told. So I was like, okay, that's a little bit different and disheartening. I go and piece by piece, I'm doing Q&A with the audience, all that kind of stuff, right? And so as we transition, as I transition to the pitch part, right? I pull up the slide deck that's normally a 90-minute slide presentation with a pitch and an offer and everything. And I went through it and I was like, yeah, we talked about this. And I'm going through the slides, right? Like super fast, just being like, yep, and this, you guys don't need me to tell you the story, right? You should understand this, boom, boom, boom. And then at the very end, I basically make the pitch, right? Without any kind of pre-frame, and I go through it just really fast and kind of half-assed. And I bombed. It was horrendous. It was horrible. Because I had so much speaking time, they didn't take me off stage because I still had time left. And so I'm sitting there on stage, having made the offer, no one's moved. And then all of a sudden, hands start raising from the audience with questions. And I had never sold anything that was cheap in my life. So this was a $2,000 thing. It was literally the first time in my entire life I've ever sold anything below $16,000. Which was for into the fitness space, right? I thought this was a no-brainer. It's $2,000. You know what I mean? Just buy it and then make a ton more money because it's stupid, right? I started having people be like, hey, can I do a payment plan on the $2,000? I remember being like, if you need a payment plan, then don't buy it. And next question. And someone's like, I feel like, the supplements that you have are against my goodwill because I only promote vegan things. And I was like, cool, then don't buy it. And this is how the questions start unrolling, this vibe, this tone, right? And you can just watch the plane just going towards the ground on fire, burning, right? I do this for 30 more minutes, all right? Of Q&A, of me just getting increasingly annoyed because there's only 30 people there, which there was supposed to be a lot more than that. Anyways, and so I remember the feeling I had afterwards, which was just anger and embarrassment and just humiliate, all of those, at once. And mind you, at the time, and this is then, right? We were doing about $4 million a month, all right? And so when I had some people were like, well, how do we know it's gonna work for fitness? I was like, I have 4,000 freaking locations here that use this licensing model. I pared it down just for you guys so that you can use the materials at 1/8 the price. This is not a discussion, right? So anyways, I remember sitting there and in the pain of the moment and the humiliation, I was like, what am I going to learn from this? Which may be in and of itself something that you might be able to take with you, but whenever you have those super emotional moments, right? I know from my conversations with Dr. Kashi that when you have extreme emotions, you're actually in hyper learning mode. PTSD is where you're basically, you turn your brain on and it goes into hyper learning mode because there's trauma that is going around you, right? and or it's a traumatic experience, which just means super heightened emotions. And so what happens is your brain says learn from this, right? And then it starts ingraining these things so that when you hear loud noises, then you get amped, and then et cetera, right? And so it's the same kind of thing. So if you have these emotional moments, this is for me, this is what I do, is I try and think like, what am I going to try and ingrain in my brain right now? Because I have an opportunity to hyper learn something in these moments. And so the lesson that I learned, and I'll tell you another story in a second that really drove this home, no half measures. Either pitch or don't pitch. All right, so if you go into a business meeting or you go to a conference or you go to a whatever, right? Either ask hard or do not ask at all. There is no half-assed asking. All right, and this is a lesson that I have learned hard. I actually had one of my execs. He ended up pitching. So this is now that we've moved ourselves out of that business and now we're just on top of it. One of the execs in my gym business, he half pitched something to our audience. He like half pitches like, you guys don't need me to do this scarcity thing, right? You guys don't need me to do these guarantees, right? You don't need me to do these these bonuses, right? And I was like, what are you doing? I remember because I was like, that is how you pitch. You're saying that they don't need all the things that persuade them. He's like, well, they know because we teach them how to do this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but like people still need it to make decisions. And so he bombed that and he learned the lesson himself. So my goal is that you don't have to bomb it to learn the lesson, right? And so let me tell you the upside of this. Here's the flip side, right? So I talked about just now how like no half measures, either pitch or don't pitch, right? Don't go in the middle. I think one of the things that's difficult for entrepreneurs is to know when to make the ask, right? So it's like, okay, well, if I'm either going all in or all out, well, then how do I know when to do which, right? And I would say that most times I have been better served in my life by holding back my ask. And what I mean by that, and this is like a super life hack, so for those of you who are perseverant and focused on what I'm saying right now, then take this in. If you get to a point of goodwill, if you keep giving and keep giving and keep giving, you don't need to ask ever. You will just get. So there's the commonly told like jab 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 right hook, right? Give ask, right? But I would postulate that there is another one that is even more powerful, which is give get, get, right? Is that people will just start handing things to you because humans are reciprocal in nature. They believe that if they are getting something at a certain point, they must reciprocate somehow, which is why the spammers who copy my name on this channel do so well with my channel, because I don't ask for anything from Hormozi Nation. So by the way, just another disclaimer, I will not DM you or put you on WhatsApp and ask you for cab fare or ask you to buy something. Everything that I have is free here. So just FYI, just as a reminder to everybody. And a lot of the best things that I've had happen in my life have come from goodwill. And so I think the biggest difference between big business owners and small business owners is that they do not understand and apply the concept of goodwill. Right? And I'll do an entire thing on goodwill next time because it's a deep topic that I love talking about. But right now, in your business, you have the opportunity to provide things for your audience. And if you can continue to provide them and have the patience to wait for the ask, you can actually make significantly more money. All right? And so the thing is if you're going to make the ask, which means if you're going to withdraw from your relational capital, right? The goodwill that you have in your audience, if you're going to make the withdrawal, then ask and ask hard and mean it. It's not the time to make it a nickel here, a nickel there, right? It's so much better to just keep investing, keep over delivering, and then when you ask, make it known that you are asking. And that is one of the biggest lessons that I have learned over time in business for me, is that it is so much better to give and keep giving, and oftentimes you will get. And if you pitch, if the idea is to ideally never even have to, because you should be getting so much, but if you must pitch, then pitch like you mean it, right? And don't half-ass it. So anyways, that was a story of my bombing. I hope you found some humor in that.
Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, wow, I should be further ahead by now? If you're trying to make money online or start your first business and feel overwhelmed, you're not alone. Every day you see other people succeeding and you wonder, why am I not succeeding? Maybe you don't like your job or you're unfulfilled. You want to do something you love and make money, but you feel stuck, bored, confused, or maybe all three. I get it. I spent years in the exact same spot, afraid to fail, but ashamed of being afraid. And it wasn't until I paid another business owner to teach me how to run a local business that I felt comfortable starting my own. He showed me the ropes and gave me the confidence to start. And after scaling my local gym chain from learning this stuff from him, I started a company called Gym Launch, which I sold years later for $46.2 million. Now, what I want to do is repay the favor. I want to show you the ropes the exact way that business owner did for me. And as the person with the largest community on Skool, which I'll tell you about in a second, I can show you exactly what to do. You can start your own online community business today with all the things I didn't know when I started my first business for free with the Skool games. So imagine building a business being as easy as playing a video game with step-by-step instructions, live workshops, real-time leaderboards, and new friends to make it fun. If all that were true, would you at least be interested? Okay. Now, you might be wondering, well, what exactly is Skool? How do the Skool games work? How much does it cost? Do I need to be an expert? Do I need an audience? What are the prizes? Great questions. Let me break it down for you. Skool games is a fun, easy way to build your online business. No experience or followers needed. Just simply choose a painful experience you overcame, something you find interested or you're passionate about, or some skill you learned throughout your career, no matter how small. It could be as simple as a better way to organize folders, or meal prepping for kids who have food allergies, or travel hacks. And then all you have to do is just invite people to community about overcoming that pain, following that passion, or learning that skill. And we'll show you exactly how to build it and monetize it on your first try. Now, if that sounds insanely simple, that's because it is. So check it out. More than 1 out of 2 people who start a paid community in Skool make money. That means by your next reunion, instead of answering, what are you up to these days? You could be answering, how'd you do that? And could you help me? And the thing is you probably could, because it's not that hard. Right now, people are paying hundreds, sometimes thousands to get into digital communities the same way they do nightclubs or cafes. Just think about it as a place where lots of people who want to talk about the same stuff can gather together, and people pay to get in. And the crazy thing is people are selling courses and coaching programs for thousands and tens of thousands on how to build a business like this because it's so profitable. But what if there were a faster, easier, zero-risk way to learn how to do this for yourself? What if you could learn how to start, scale, and monetize an online group the right way on your first try for free? Would you at least consider it? All right. So for those of you who want more out of life, an online community takes the least amount of time to get started. You can literally make money in hours. It requires the least skill. If you can invite people to a party, you can make this business work. And you don't need to be an expert. You just invite those people and let them do the heavy lifting for you. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the expert at anything. They just bring the people together and then they are the online de facto experts. It's even faster than building a course or starting a coaching program because you don't need to have all the answers for that exact reason. Interested yet? Good. Because Skool Games was designed to smash through every obstacle that once stood in the way of starting an online business. It's why we have such an insanely high success rate. We've obsessed for years about removing everything that stops people from succeeding. And that's why with the Skool Games, you can succeed without an audience or expertise. Because let's face it, most people don't. And so we had to figure out a way to help people win. And of the 5 out of 7 communities I talked about earlier who won the Skool Games in their first month, only 2 of them had organic followings before they started. You don't need any fancy software, calendars, payment processing. Everything you need is already built into Skool. And you don't even have to know what your community is going to be about yet. I'll show you how to pick it. It's simple, and you can do it in less than 20 minutes. And if you're wondering, well, how do I get people invited to my community? Don't worry, you don't have to ask people you know. We've made it simple to crowdsource your community, just like Evelyn did through Skool itself on the millions of users we already have on the platform. As for tech skills, you don't need any. If you have the technology to watch this video right now, you already have all the tech you need to start, scale, and succeed. So what happens if you sign up right now? Well, you'll follow our process, you'll build a paid community about whatever it is you love, and if you become one of the top 10 communities on the leaderboard, you'll join me and other successful community owners here in Vegas. And even if you don't win the first month, you get to keep competing every month until you win. And then you can join all the alumni and all the past winners to get to the next level. Worst case scenario, you join, you do nothing, you decide to quit and walk away with thousands of dollars worth of knowledge that you can take with you on whatever business venture you want next. Best case scenario, you take a zero risk move and change your life forever. Or maybe you're just like Kyle, who's never won the games, never got in the top 10, and just built a community that makes him $4,664 a month in recurring revenue. He didn't win any awards, but would 3, 4, 5 grand a month change things for you? If so, then you're in the right place. Remember, the only guarantee is that if you don't take the shot, you'll stay exactly where you are. But if you do, you could be the next one coming out to Vegas celebrating how quickly you built an online business with consistent monthly recurring revenue. You in? Click the button below to join the Skool Games now. If you join this month, I'll personally onboard you live. Sign up and I'll see you on our onboarding call on Monday. You can ask me whatever you want. Now, if you're worried about starting a free trial, we offer an unconditional money back guarantee. So if you finish your trial and you forget to cancel, just let us know and we'll refund you. All right, we just want people to win. And I'm going to say this one more time because it's important. 1 out of 2 people who start a paid community on Skool make money, with the average paid community owner earning $1,360 per month. You really can do this. Click the button and let's get started.